Hey everybody, and welcome to my video. I am celebrating my 1-year birthday in playing poker for real money, because I remember 30th of the 12th, 2018 was the first day I played a real money session of poker, and I just wanted to basically just make this video as a way of tracking my, I'd say progress, but just my time playing poker. It's actually been a very interesting period of my life, and poker's just part of it. I'd say a bigger part of it. I've kind of I wouldn't say lost interest, but I've transitioned away from something I did for many years, which is play competitive TF2, and I now basically play poker as my main sort of form of a game, as a hobby, main hobby that I do among other stuff. But yeah, I wanted to make a video and just talk about stuff I've learned and show you some few things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up this little notepad of notes I made, and we're just going to look at these first few lines. We'll shove the lessons down a bit. So the first thing is, you should know I started playing Play Money back in September 2019, so not real money, on Zynga Poker mainly, and I did have PokerStars and I played a little bit of Play Money and PokerStars. I got bored, so what I decided to do is I said I want to play for real money, but I don't want to just go and play real money and just get slaughtered and lose like all my money. I'm very disciplined with money. I don't really like the idea of gambling. I know that if I play the game correctly or well enough, I'll win, but I had a lot to learn, and yeah, I still do. So one of the things I did is I created a folder called my poker folder, and here it is. And you see, well, date modified 12th, 2019, but pre-December 30th, 2018, so probably for like a month, 6 weeks or something, I spent some spare time in my evenings after work, and sometimes during weekends preparing for this, and I created my first document I created a folder and I called it the strategy folder, and I called it the ready for it checklist. Sounds a bit weird, ready for it, but there you go. And I got all these notes about how people advise you play, writing a bunch of stuff that basically just means nothing to me now, essentially, and just a bunch of concepts that I think I should learn. Like useless comments like bluff less, bluffing ranges, bluff ace deuce to ace 5, bluff pocket 2s to 5s, bluff less though, things like that. Really kind of silly. Well, I say silly, it's what I knew at the time, and none of this means anything to me really now. And some of this stuff I didn't even like learn as a concept, but I now basically have done extensive studying on basically all of these subjects that I've noted here. And then, like, first thing was like bankroll management. We should be playing Zoom poker, planning our sessions, which websites, it's got some information from various sources. Automatic Poker, you can see one of them. Built some basic ranges. I can even show you some. They're kind of tight, to be honest, but so I built some like basic opening ranges here under the gun, and over time I developed them, but basically I just followed these to the letter, didn't really make any adjustments and things like that. Yeah, and eventually actually my poker folder is now 7.2 gigabytes, so I've done videos, spreadsheets, documents, various stuff. I have all sorts of stuff in there. Yeah, that's how I began. my journey, and it basically grew from there. The other thing to note is I had to switch my new SSD and didn't back up all of my PokerTracker database, so basically all my results are on this database on PokerTracker of September 2019. I should note that my first session, December 30th, 2018, I actually recorded it and I might even upload it for fun. It's kind of like, it's like watching yourself do something like 10 years ago. Like, it's like thinking back to when you're in school and you're trying to ask a girl out. You know, it just makes you cringe watching it, but you know, it's interesting to know how far I've come. I've deleted most of my videos, but I thought I'd keep that one because I knew I'd want to watch it in the future. So yeah, let's have a look at this graph. And this is my results in September 2019. You can see the bit where I was doing 2-0. I didn't even really win money on 2-0. I hadn't really played cash poker or much poker, so I wanted to spend a bit of time getting back into it. And then you see I started playing 5-0. You can see my strategy was very, very, very much less about bluffs. So I was like focused on trying to win at showdown, and so I started like eventually I just kind of like started playing Bella, learning, then crushing, and is my 10-0 first shots, and then yeah, I just been on 10-0, and I've been playing a combination of all the stakes. In the last few months, I've had a lot of time in the last few months. I'm not working at the moment to play poker. And then here's where I am in terms of like winnings in September. But if I include tournament winnings and stuff, I don't know if I can just like get the tournament types and clear filters. Can I get buy-ins and stuff? No, let's go prizes. Oh god, these graphs look horrible. Oh wow. Okay, $13 in September. I haven't really played. I've played a lot of sit and goes, but I haven't played many tournaments. TV. Oh, I've got just sit and goes flagged. Okay, $40 in tournaments. Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna set that back to single tables because that's what I'm doing at the moment in my spare time. Yeah, basically in my first few weeks of playing poker, I satellited using the star coins, and I satellited. People don't notice these things. You get them in the chests. I satellite into like the hot, like the hot 330 or something like this. What the prize is on this? Oh, you can't even see what the prizes are for first and second. It wasn't something like this because I came like third and I won something like $250. It was something. It was like hot 550. I don't think it'd be this. The prizes are just way too much. Hot 330, hot 220, something like that. Big 4, well, basically something around that where I won quite a lot of money. It was basically luck. There's not much else to it. I won like a triple way all in with aces in like my third hand of that tournament. Went from there, but never lost a flip until late. But I used that money straight away to buy PokerTracker, and I did actually buy Pio, and I've started using, and I'm gonna go more into this later. As one of my lessons actually is basically any money that I have won, and I've made probably a few £100 in profit, or $300 in profit. I've used a lot of it to buy software, and I probably should keep doing it with some other software, but at the moment I'm not choosing to do it. But yeah, so we're going to move into the biggest lessons, but this is one that I should mention is use your profit to purchase more beneficial things to study. For example, a database like PokerTracker, Hold'em Manager, Flopzilla, SNG Coach, Range Converter, Pi Basic, etc. Books, training, site materials, various masterclasses, etc., etc. That's like the first lesson I would say I have covered, because even though I have made profit, like in a year of playing, I haven't even made like $1,000 in my first year of playing, and you can't live on $1,000. So, like right now, as a small or micro stakes player, if you're focusing on trying to make it as a poker player, you should just spend your winnings on studying stuff, because if you do make it as a poker player in a couple of years, like making a few $100s, ain't gonna, isn't gonna is something you will be doing on a daily basis, basically. So yeah, let's avoid. So yeah, when you make profit with this, use it to improve your studying. And that leads me onto the second lesson, which is to avoid short-term thinking. This is the thing I've learned. Poker is about long-term and volume. We need to, even though, like for example here, on tenor now, I haven't really done anything particularly amazing. On tenor now, I keep losing. Definitely a lot of mistakes being made, but some variance too. But I've only done 45, 46k hands. Like, I mean, it's great. I've only done 46k hands. If you compare that to, say, 2 now, well, obviously I'm having a good time because it's so easy to play for me now than it used to be. In fact, based on these graphs, I should probably just play 2 now and make more money. But with that said, hey, you ain't playing money. You ain't playing these stakes to make money, make profit. You're playing them to improve. 45k hands is nothing. Like, if I play a decent volume, I could do this in a month if I was like playing full time, for example. And I've basically had a lot of time to play poker lately, last couple of months. 45k is nothing. Wait until let's see where we are when we do 90k hands. Not to mention every time I go back down to 5 an hour, I just win back the money quickly, or 2 an hour or whatever, and then just keep playing 10 an hour. So yeah, poker is about short-term thinking. Or it's about the long term and doing volume. Doesn't mean you should just like play every day and not study, but you can be a losing player after 45k hands, but it doesn't mean you're not going to be a winning player eventually. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to lose all your money instantly if you follow proper bankroll management, which is another lesson in here. Bankroll managements are very important. If we understand variance, which is what I've been displaying my understanding of variance. However, we can choose high risk shots if they are planned well. Something I should mention is I tend not to take high risk shots myself, but if you feel like you have an edge on, like if you feel like you can manage 5 an L, like you're just really good at 2 an L, like you're just crushing it. Because when I came back into poker, I basically took all my money out of poker for a while, and then decided I'd put some money back in. I played 2 an L for a bit. I wasn't really winning, but I kind of figured that because I'd beaten it plenty of times before, that I didn't want to spend 30k hands playing 2 an L trying to get back up to 5 an L, so I just put in the money to play 5 an L. And then yeah, it's worked out for me lately. But yeah, it's the same thing really with other stuff. If you play MTTs or Singos, just put the extra money in. Mental game is key and worth more money than any other respected game for a new player. And this is a thing that I want to show. I've learned, like, mental game. There's been one particular night that I remember very well where I basically kept failing my 5-0 shots. This was like within a couple of months of playing poker, and one time I failed. I just like snapped, and I just spent a few hours just playing on 5-0, even though I wasn't rolled, and I just kept losing and losing. I eventually came to my senses, like as I stopped in the early hours of the morning, and I eventually came to my senses and thought, this is just stupid. And I saved my last $12 that I had left, and I returned to the bottom. But it's actually kind of a lesson, really, about tilt and bankroll management, mainly tilt, which is why I created this diary since I've been playing the last 3 months, which I have open here. And basically, every time I feel like I'm tilted, I put in the date, and I put in how much I think I lost in big blinds, and I put in how much I lost in actual money, and I put in the reason why I think I was tilted, and the consequences, like what the actions, and then we can know what's my total amount of cash lost to tilt. And I've got to estimate my cash lost. I don't want to. I can't no. You see, some of these are from 20 big blinds. You see, it's from like 5-0. Some of these include 10-0 and stuff. That's not how you spell cloud in. Oh no, it is. Never mind. There you see, had a few sessions of tilt. A lot more lately, actually, than I had. It's funny because November I ran pretty well, and I had very few tilt sessions, but I've been running pretty badly in December. And it's interesting to notice how, like, the worse you run, obviously, the more tilted you'll get. And these are some of the things: tiredness, just being tired, wanting to build a stack on the table for some reason. Probably, I think it's because I had one stack was like 400 bigs and the other was like not building, so it just made me like go stupidly over bluffing and over calling, and then not thinking clearly, affected by losing some pots. Over bluffed a clear cool spot, so I turned the hand into a bluff, which is actually a clear call. Over bluff catched, took unnecessary bluffs or risks. Yes, and there's another thing, when you analyze like why you're tilting, sometimes you think that what you're doing is bad because you're tilted, but sometimes when you like come back the next day and analyze it, you think actually it's not a bad bluff, it just happened to be the top of his range, and knowing the difference between that is also important. Things like this: tiredness from playing too late. So this is like planning your sessions is important. Consequences, got 3-bet on the turn with nut flush and straight draw rather than call to see the river. I jam to call when call was more a plus EV play. Yeah, it's a simple, small thing, but because I'm tired, I didn't think what is the most plus EV play. Reason, I had some run bad in callers and it made me over bluff one hand, but I stopped immediately after, so I only lost $1. People playing nitty, tiredness, and losing. I remember this is a recent thing since I started 10 now. I think 10 is actually like one of the worst stakes to play. I actually think 5 is, I wouldn't say harder, but 5 is more unpredictable than 10 2 is just like a fish fest. Like 10 the pool dramatically has a shift, it seems, from people who 2 and 5 which can be full of maniacs and people who can actually bluff and just do random stuff, to 10 which where a lot of the regs are just really face up nits. It's something I've learned, but it's actually affecting my mentality, and people playing nitty actually making me do stuff wrong. And this one side slightly tired and started losing. Same thing, like as I bluffed a hand I clearly should have folded pre, and then I check raise bluffed it 3 streets when it was no reason. Recently I've had some of my worst episodes of Tilt in terms of losing money, stressed and annoyed from losing bad beats. Overbluffed and overplayed Jack Jack Pre. If you don't know, Jack Jack Pre is with the way people play on the micro stakes. I've analysed this several times and had people analyse it with me several times. You don't really want to be playing that as a 4-bet jam very often on this stake, just because of how people play. Yeah. So it was that. Same, and then like recently, Stressor Variance. Kind of minus at 300 big blinds lost, but I only put $20. Maybe it should be 30. I don't know, I'm just gonna trust my what I put down here. But the Stressor Variance, kind in mind, overbluffed a few spots anyway, no fold equity. So yeah, it's just basically like run bad and losing. So I've noted all these things. And I've put $80 in 3 months lost to Tilt. This doesn't include like the previous 8 months or whatever I was playing, where it's probably more than this in total. I'd estimate I probably lost something like, if I wasn't tilting, I probably lost like $250, $300 of money, and that's the difference between me being in 10 an hour and me being in 50 an hour. And it really like hits home the real effect Tilt has on you as a player. Like if my mental game is good, and nobody's gonna have a perfect mental game. Let's just say for example, I had a perfect mental game, I would be in 50 an hour right now. I mean, it's unrealistic to think like that, but it just highlights how important it is and how you can't neglect it. So yeah, that's the thing. There's also studying more than playing will improve your knowledge over the average micro stakes player, and you will gain an edge. That's kind of the thing. There's a lot of random micro regs that are like 4 tabling 8 hours a day. I don't even know if they're studying, but they just seem to do the same things over and over. And I think like rather than just putting 8 hours a day of playing, if you've got time to put in 8 hours a day of playing, it's like why not spend 4 hours playing and 4 hours studying, or 6 hours playing, 2 hours studying. And most people don't have 8 hours a day, but I have had that much time some days recently, and I've basically spent like 4 hours studying and then a few hours playing later in the day. When I've had the opportunity to. Yeah, that's just kind of a small note. Is if you're new to poker, you should probably spend at a minimum a quarter of your time dedicated to poker studying. Absolute minimum. I would highly recommend you play half your time studying, half playing. Obviously, it's more fun to play, but I can enjoy studying myself. Sometimes I enjoy studying more than playing. Yeah. We talked about bankroll management, so here's another thing I've learned. We have to decide if we want to be more theoretically sound player or if we want to focus on exploitative play. Either way, we have to have a consistent thought process. Either one, in my view, is valid, but we can't get them mixed. This is an important thing. There's 2 of the people I've watched the most since I've been playing poker is Charlie Carroll and Doug Polk. And I'll type this up. And it's almost like saying GTO versus exploitative versus GTO. Upswing Poker Lab, and Charlie has a lot of his own material. There's a lot of like people who play different styles and etc. on different training sites, but these are the 2 people that I've watched the most content from. And I think like you can go down Charlie's route of just being pure about exploitative play and learning all of these things, or you can go down Doug Polk's route about being purely about theory and balance and stuff. I personally don't think if you're playing like 10 an hour, it really makes a huge difference to be super balanced in some spots. I think like a combination of the two is the best. Certainly it's the best, and certainly if you're a professional player, like you'll have a very good understanding of the theory anyway, because you'll just be like and I think like most, even Doug Polk, even though he's a GTO player at heart, he does have exploitative tendencies. I don't really want to get into a debate about GTO versus exploitative. I have my own opinions. They might not be right, they might not be wrong. But the main thing I think is you can go either route, personally, and you can be successful either way. It doesn't matter. You can pick one, you can pick the other, you can try and mix them. But I think you need to. The most important thing is to have a consistent thought process with every decision you make, and focus on the thought processes that lead you to be successful. So if you have a lot of success saying, well, this is the top of my range, I'm going to call. If you're finding that's a successful way of playing, then go with that. If you're more in this thing of, well, this spot is very, very underbluffed, he has to be turning this or this into a bluff. He clearly isn't bluffing this spot. All I have is this hand, even though this is the top of my range, because I don't check the turn with a huge amount of value here, or etc. And they can be exploited here. It doesn't matter. He's not doing this. He's not bluffing here often enough. So this to be profitable, I'm going to fold. You can be like that, or just anywhere in between. I'm just using examples, but yeah, pick a style, focus on that style, but don't mix them. Find something that works for you and stick to it. Don't get too caught up in both of the argument being one way or the other. Next thing is making and supporting friends makes poker a better game to play and be involved in. If I was meant to write, we want to make friends, but we don't want to. But here's another thing: we don't want to be too nice. And I mean that in the sense that you want to be honest to each other. Because if you're playing with somebody who isn't honest and being like, dude, that's just not a good play, and then able to discuss it with you, like, those are the sort of people that are going to really make you think hard about your game. And some people are just dicks, I'm not going to lie. I've been a couple that I've seen playing poker, but generally, most of the people I've met have been lovely people, and when they're criticising you, they're generally doing it from a good place. Sometimes some of it is ego for sure, but you want people who are honest with you, because they're not going to be afraid to tell you and not try and upset you when you misplay a spot. And you don't have to agree with them at the end of the day. And also, plus, if you win a big pot versus them, it's funny because the biggest pot I've won in the last few months on cash has actually been against someone I know from a Discord group. I actually felt really bad afterwards. But you shouldn't feel bad, because when you're playing against somebody, it's about winning. At the end of the day, yeah, you can be friends. It's like playing anything, you be friends off the felt, but you want to win and take their money. No offense to them, we wish you the best of luck, but not against me. So yeah, poor guy. But no sympathy, don't make sympathy. Don't have sympathy for people. The final lesson, how long have I been doing this for? 30 minutes? Me talking? Oh, that's boring. The final lesson I've learned is focusing on cash, and I mean like Zoom cash mainly, small stakes sitting goes, is like, and I'm talking like you've got all of these sitting go, let's see, you've got all of these like small buy-ins. Maybe I wouldn't play this game. This looks kind of juicy, like 10-cent buy-in, and if you win 68 buy-ins. It's not bad if you're like starting out, trying to learn how to be a tournament player. But like, I mean more like, I'm going to practice for MTTs. You should play these games. See, especially if you don't have a large bankroll. Like if you have less than $100, I wouldn't recommend playing anything more than $1. You should play these games instead of like the tourneys. And when you do play the tourneys, like say you want to play the bounty builder, but you only have $100 in bankroll, that's like 4.5% of your whole roll. Like, for what? 240 entries in this, 39 places paid, plus knockouts. I mean, it's going to be different later. Like, go play the satellites. Can I even register to a satellite? Damn, I don't have enough star coins. Play the satellites with your star coins, or try and play for 60 cents and get in. Don't just enter it. I haven't. When I've played tourneys lately, I've mostly been satellite-ing. Mostly, although I do have a bankroll big enough to support playing ones like this, which looks kind of fun. I might even play that. But yeah, focus on playing Zoom Cash and focus on playing the sit and goes. If you're new, don't avoid the MTTs, because the problem is if you go chase the big score, you might get lucky and get one like I did, but what I learned in the next few months, because I won like a lot of money playing on MTT, I thought it would be like that a lot, and it wasn't, and they basically I was burning through buy-ins until I eventually realised that this has to stop. And I would go back to cash or small sit and goes. So yeah, I think you should avoid MTTs until your bankroll have like 100, 150 average buy-in, and also you're not improving if you're just playing MTTs. The thing about MTTs is there's a lot to them. Like, you have to have a 20 big blind game, a 10 big blind game, a 30 big blind game, a 100 big blind game, and etc. etc. And really, some of it you're just not even playing post flop, and some of it's just about pre flop, and you have to understand how ICM affects it. You have to understand how bounties affect the decision making, and all sorts of things. When you should be folding more, when you should be folding less, when you should be using your stack size. There's so much stuff. There's just more than in play than just your whole cards, basically. So really, I learn MTT should be the last thing we learn. I wouldn't really say that they're easier or harder than the other type of poker. It's just more. I mean, in a way they're easier because there's just so many like weak players just chasing a dream on MTTs. But if you understand how the variance works, you really just want to be like putting your game at a level where you're going to be more successful when you start playing them. That's my thinking anyway. And I'm not really at that level yet, so which is why I've stopped playing MTDs, except for like trying to put like a little bit of money into satellite, or use the star coins. The other day I won like $30 using the star coin to get into like the hot 110 or something. I came like 6th or something in the final table, stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not really talk about much more about what I've learned. But there's a couple of like other lessons outside I'd say I've learned is the lessons about my mentality have benefited me as a person, and I'd say some people I know have noticed this. Hopefully people I know have noticed this. Shout out to my girlfriend, whom I love a lot. And the poker dream is alive, but it takes a lot of work and sacrifice to make it, and I always believe in myself. So yeah, I always think I can, when I'm playing this game, I always think, even when I'm running bad and things look bad, or I'm just playing bad, I always think I've got a good enough understanding to make it as maybe a semi-pro, or even a professional, but you just got to keep going, basically. But in life, you might not make it, you might make it, but if you don't believe in yourself that you're good enough, then, and I do always believe in myself that I am good enough, then you're going to make it. I don't know if it's stupid or not, and we'll see where I am in next year. I could be homeless by then, but who knows. But yeah, if you're playing this game to make it as a professional, you have to understand the work and sacrifice it's going to take. And I'm kind of understand that. At the same time, the poker dream is not really my main dream in life. It's just something I want to do at the moment. But yeah, I'm not playing this game just to make a bit of money on the side. I might get to a point where I'm like, well, I'm clearly not going to make it as a pro, but I know I'm good enough to beat, 25 an hour, so I'm just going to play 25 an hour. I might reach that point, so I'll make a bit of money on the side, but otherwise, for now, I am not in that ilk, shall we say. Yeah, so that's a video. Thanks for watching. 35 minutes of me talking. Where will I be in 1 year? I don't know. Right now, this is where I'm at. I have to say I haven't always enjoyed it, but you can't do anything in life without, needing to learn something and go through hard times, and that's where I am now. I'm just going to do a bit of play at the end here. So these are spots like where I probably want to be squeezing this, but their stack sizes are awkward. This one I probably want to be free betting or flatten. I can do either. I'm just going to free bet, and here I'm just going to squeeze. It's kind of a big pot though. I'm kind of pot committed against this guy, but everyone else doesn't really matter. This guy flats behind a free bet. We got kind of a decent hand. We're just going to bet more of a range protection bet against like others suited broadways and stuff. They're just going to fold. I don't really know what that's about. That's actually a reason why you don't free bet fives, because they flop so badly. Actually, that might even be a check on the flop. Probably a check. I don't know. It's one of those like fives in the small blind. You usually want to just fold. I'm going to open king jack off just because there's fish in the blind. Usually I don't open this hand. That's why. You can 4-bet it sometimes too. And how long can I play for until I get bored of losing? Yeah, so what I tend to do in these spots where some weird stuff happens is I just tend to review the hand and think, should I have done that decision? And just like really scrutinise my play. The annoying thing about the big blind was I had literally no hard stats on him, so I didn't really know much about him. I probably should have referred to my default, which was to flat and hope that he doesn't squeeze, and then fold to a squeeze. Would have been my default play there, because I just want to be in the pot. So that's such a good price. I like to steal against recreational players. Gonna go for a check. Call here. It's not in a, because we're using such a bad hand, we're not in a great spot. So this spot there's a good chance that he is like just betting a jack or a 10. I could turn my 5 into a bluff, but he could also just have something like king queen. I do have a stronger range here, but you're getting a really bad spot bluffing in these scenarios. I'd probably rather just fold 5-6 to just so low down my range. Anyway, he isn't really repping a lot. He's saying he has something like king jack, king 10, 10-9 on the flop, something like that. It's more likely he has random air or like some kind of draw. But being this type of player, he could also just be like value betting now, like queen jack, or betting it for protection, which wouldn't be so bad as well. So when I have a hand like 5-6, I think I just want to be folding. We can't fold the flop because you never know what the turn's going to bring. This guy folds quite a lot to free bets, 83%, well 6 hands, we'll see what he does. So he calls this time, it's not really a great flop. So we're going to have a strategy where we mix check and bet here. We're going to go for a, we're going to start with a check. We can definitely have stronger hands. This is probably a hand I want to be folding. He's bet small, so we're going to defend his hand. It's not really going to be a great spot to go in. Doing it with maybe want to be check folding too. 5 isn't really changed much. Do we want to turn into a bluff? It's kind of pointless to, I think. Need a big size on this board. We're going to be super capped here. I'm not going to call a river, I'm not going to raise a river, I'm just going to go for a... So here we bet he's just snap called. I don't think we have much fold equity on this board. All I have is a 6. But I thought I would see bet this hand. So we think he's either got something like... I don't think he's going to fold. I think he's the sort of person... I don't think we have the best hand here very often. We're just going to check and hope he has like... that sounds so bad, I think I have to bluff it. But he's not going to fold a jack or a 10. Yeah, no, I can't bluff. He's just not going to fold. This guy, fish, will... I could try check raising, but he'll just call me as an ace. Fish will basically... Jack A is kind of close, so I'm going to defend. Once you go check on the turn, fish will pay you off on the river with like second pair very often, so it's just not worth bluffing there. It's better to just, not all the time anyway. 10-5-5, neutral kind of board. We have the jack of spades, c-bet 100. We want to raise hands like 7-6, 8-9 on this. This is not a hugely bad hand to bluff with, but he's bet bigger, so I'm going to fold based off that. If he goes smaller, I might attack him a bit more. Okay, against that size, we're just going to fold. It's a bit craziness. Yeah, stealing against recreational players is very profitable. Might not know about it, but kind of is. I think this hand's just good enough to free bet in general against a calf range. It's like the top 5% of your hands are really. The guy's going to be opening anywhere from 20 to 30%, so we have to start building the pot. Any more? No, really want to play King 10. Kind of alright spot. It's probably better to squeeze this, but I want to like have stronger hands with more playability. I think I can make this profitable in this spot from my database reviews of these kind of hands in these areas. They are kind of hands that you don't want to overplay though in multi-way pots. Like the button bets here, so he checks. This flop is a very good flop. It's very wet. These hands connect with these guys' range. I think we can safely check call turn. I'm gonna free bet ace queen off always. So now he's gonna check bet. So maybe he has like some queen tens and stuff like that. But he could also have some weak ace x. Maybe he does have a hand. Because we have the redraw to the nuts, we're gonna call. But it's kind of a spot where yeah, they don't bluff the river. Yeah, this board we're probably gonna mix. I'm gonna use a bigger size just because it connects a little bit more. I think we can go smaller too. We just have so much more king x. So when he calls is kind of interesting. So here we could check our hand for the sake of balance. Check all the river. Doesn't need a lot of protection. Or we can bet it for value. I think I'm just going to go for a check this time. And we're just going to call if he bets. No matter what size he bets. He checks, so we probably have to value bet now. Can't go big. Just going to bet that size. Yeah. And we get to play a free flop with a garbage hand against a guy. And these top spots that come up a lot. I tend to just, some people like to attack fish, and it can be okay. I tend to just playing my hand strength. Like, I just want to show down my hand here. King 2 is good, but like, yeah, I get to see a free flop with a hand that I would normally fold pre. I just, any equity you can realise in those spots is going to be huge. So you don't want to be bluffing with a weak range there. You want to like use strong hands to raise with. Yeah. Maybe I'll set our next big blind. That's how you should approach them. 6-7 is this will be fine. That's how you should approach the limped pots. When you get to see a free flop, don't go crazy, don't go bluffing crazy. I'll just play your card hand according to your equity. Sometimes you'll have like 8-2 deuce off there, and the flop will come 8-8 deuce, And sometimes fish limp trap aces, and you'll win a stack. But they shouldn't have given you the chance to win, but they did. But yeah, that's it's a little bit of gameplay too to go with this video. Yeah, so it's been a great year of playing. I've actually kind of achieved what I set out. My objective when I first started was to play and not be a losing player. Because there was somebody said something like 90% of people were losing players. I don't know if that's true, but like my objective was to be a winning player, and I am a winning player at the moment, but it can all change. And I owe that a lot to just studying very hard to be better at the game. And like with anything in life, you put effort into it, you'll get better. Yeah, there's benefits. This year has been the benefits of poker definitely can outweigh the negatives if you apply correctly. Yeah, anyway, it's been nice to make this video. Something different if you've got it all the way to the end. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you out in the felt.